What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure EVil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie. We got a really special show for you guys here today, but before we do that, hope you guys had a great weekend. We had some great fights that came up between Colby, Covington, T-Wood going down. There's just so much to discuss, so much excitement. We got the ball rolling, and tonight I got a very special guest for everybody. Somebody that I've actually known for quite some time, but it's been a minute since, I've seen this guy not kill the entire MMA scene with breaking news. And just by that, you should already know who this is. We got Marcel Dorff. What's going on, Big Marcel?
Hi, what's up, Eddie? Thanks for having me, man. I'm finally doing a show together. Looking forward to it, man. Let's talk some fights.
It's weird, though, man, because I've seen you around for so long. You've been doing this for how long now?
Oh, man. On Twitter, I think not as long as I've been busy with MMA media. I think I started with MMA media around maybe 2014. But I've been with other websites. I've been with MMA DNA since 2016 when we created the website. And I think a year later I started to be very very active on Twitter, Instagram.
Man, you're absolutely killing it, dude. Because I think you're almost at like 10,000 followers now, right?
Yeah, man, it's shocking for me as well. I never expected to be close to that, man.
Yeah, man. And also, let's talk about one more thing before we jump into it. Loudmouth MMA. I know all those guys. I know Keith. I've actually covered a lot of events with Keith. Great guy. Talk a little bit about that, like what involvement you have with Loudmouth, because that's a great podcast.
So I first got asked to do the breakdowns for the UFC cards. I did that with Max Friedman, Trademark MMA. He's a very good guy as well. He couldn't do it anymore, so now I'm doing it with Davidson Baker and AJ Shulo. And we're doing now with three of us. We're doing the breakdown for every UFC event.
So let's jump into last night's fights. I still got some more questions because I just think you're such an interesting character and a very important role for the MMA scene, because we have a lot to say on Twitter for the media and the fans. There's a lot to say, and I see you break a lot of news. So let's hold that on the back burner. Let's discuss last night's fights, man. T-Wood going up against Colby Covington. What a difference a couple years can make. We saw Tyron Woodley on like a 6-fight win streak, just going through everybody. And then I don't know what happened, man, but Colby Covington, another guy with a big turnaround in the last couple years as well. What was your thoughts going into this fight?
I expected something from Woodley, right? I mean, I think the Usman and Burns fight, definitely the Usman fight, he was like, I'm the superior wrestler here. Nothing going to happen to me. The Burns fight, he said, I take this fight to keep busy. So I was like, the Covington fight, he goes in a different way and with a different mindset. He definitely wants to finish here. But, man, I don't know, man. Woodley doesn't seem himself in his last 3 fights, and it's very weird to see. He lost now 14 rounds back-to-back.
Wow.
And actually the 15th as well, because he was losing the fifth round as well, that thing. So, yeah. I mean, what can you say? It's weird to see Woodley like that.
Well, if you look back at, his career before these last couple of losses, because I believe that was his 3rd loss in a row. But before that, man, he was on a 6-fight win streak going through everybody. I mean, huge names. I'll never forget him dropping Lawler. I was just stunned with that T-bomb, like Lawler says. And then it just feels like you said, he kind of lost that eye of the tiger, it feels like. Like he's not moving forward as much. I'm not a guy that's going to be able to break things down, but it doesn't take a genius to realize something has changed recently for Woodley. What do you think it is? What do you think's going on?
I don't know, man. Maybe he has other things in his life as well. He's very high on his music career as well. I know people make fun of it all the time, but hey, he can do what he wants. I guess he made a lot of money, I think, in the UFC with MMA. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't has the, how do you say that, the will anymore, the drive, to go for that championship. Although I don't think he will stop his career here. I think he will go further. So yeah.
I'm really happy that you brought that up, because I get really upset when people say, for a fighter to retire because it's not our call. And what do they do afterwards? I mean, we've seen this happen to so many fighters before in the past where fighting is all they have. And like you said, he's made some money on Topology. I think it was listed like almost $3 million. But if you put into perspective how much these fighters are paying out of pocket for their gym, for nutrition, for fight camps, for traveling, it's a lot of money. So
Yeah.
I mean, last night Jessie just tweeted out that she only had $17.70 in her bank account that she could have used that win bonus. So it's just what does somebody like Woodley do? And people forget they're fighting top tier fighters.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, Jess should actually get a win bonus with the 2 TKOs in one fight.
What did you think about that really quick? We'll go back to the Woodley fight, but I thought that was really weird because we keep discussing the importance of what a replay can do. So
yeah.
What were your thoughts on that? It was very strange.
Now, first of all, I have to say, so before people say anything, I can't stand Chris Tononi. So this guy has made 5 mistakes in a row, in my opinion. The most obvious one actually last week in the Ed Herman against Mike Rodriguez fight. I think the week before the tap Imadaev against Pereira, but that was not that bad. Maybe because Imadaev was losing anyway, but I think you rather lose a decision than you lose a submission. Definitely when it's late in the fight. But going back to that fight, yeah, the thing was, I think he should stop because he thought it was an illegal knee. But Alpar was done at that moment, So the other referee checked the replay and he's like, it's not illegal. So he tells Tononi it's not illegal, and he's asking Alpar after 90 seconds or something, or 120 seconds, can you continue? And of course he says yes, but that shouldn't have been our call. He should have called it off. It's over. TKO. Done.
So for the people who did not have the chance to see it, I'm just going to play it for them really quick. I have it retweeted on my Twitter. Marcel, I'm sure you've seen this replay 1,000 times. Let me just play it for everybody who may not have seen it.
That knee was clean. It was confusing, though. That is a tough one to read. They need to look at the replay. That was a clean knee. And now we can look at the replay for the fight-ending sequence. So that's the good news here.
You were not down. Your butt was up. So can you continue? Okay, stand up.
What are you...
Here we go.
What?
I never waved the fight off, guys.
So just like that, we've seen this before in the past where, there's got to be a huge adrenaline dump. If you're a fighter and a situation like that happens, we can go back and look at Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping, where Silva jumped out the cage, thought he won, huge adrenaline dump, and the fight, it's hard to get those gears back going. I mean, what do you do to fix something like this? Because there's not even a crowd there. So what are your thoughts on the whole replay thing and them trying to put it into, without calling the fight? What are your thoughts on this? Because it's whack.
Everything they can do to make it more fair, I'm for it. So I'm for a replay. There's no problem. They should have been to a replay with Ed Herman, Mike Rodriguez last week.
Yes. Oh, man.
So
the nut shot.
I mean, that would have been perfect at that moment. And then there was no controversy in that thing if there was a replay. But I think the replay was here. He should have called the fight at that moment. When he saw the replay, it was done, TKO, over. That's just the referee's mistake, in my opinion. Although he said he never called it, he should have called it, in my opinion. So the replay is good. I think so many things can be made right with a replay. You see many mistakes made, and you can't always blame the referee. Sometimes it's hard to see, but I think a replay would be perfect. If you have another ref watching the replay, cage side, says to the ref this and that, perfect.
Well, it's weird because this isn't the NFL, this isn't the MLB, this isn't NBA. I say this a lot. You don't go into January with an 0-0 record. Every fight counts, and the way that the MMA fan world works, you're only as good as your last fight or your last 3 fights. We forget everything else in the past, so a loss can really damage a fighter's career and future. I mean, once they're out of the UFC, it's really hard to get back.
I have a perfect example for you, man. When you have now Piotr Jan as the champion of bantamweight, and there was like, who should he fight next, Marlon Moraes or Aljamain Sterling? For me, it's clearly Sterling, in my opinion, although Moraes is a great fighter, and he will be back, I think. But people are like, yeah, but Aljo lost to Moraes. Guys, that's like 2 years ago, and that's like 4 or 5 wins ago. And that's what they keep bringing up. You can't keep bringing those things up, in my opinion, after a fighter has done a great winning streak. And Moraes just fought for the title, kind of controversially won against Jose Aldo. So I think Sterling was the clear contender there, but I still hear people saying like, no, it should be Moraes because he knocked him out. I mean, are we going to hear that after Aljo wins like 10 more times? I just saying something. He wins 10 more times, and that's like, now Moraes knocked him out. He's not what I mean?
I mean, it's so quick. I mean, 6 months, you can be a completely different fighter.
Yeah.
And if the excitement's there, you might as well book it. Which, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the Woodley fight really quick. I don't know if you caught the post-fight. I don't want to skip around this thing, but did you catch Donald Trump calling Colby Covington?
I saw the whole clip, yeah.
What are your thoughts on something like that happening? I mean, you can hate on Colby all you want, but for that to happen to anybody has got to be the highlight of your career. And Colby looked like a little kid in that moment. He's like, that's the President of the United States calling me. With whatever you think about Colby Covington, that was an amazing moment, even though there were some cringy moments afterwards with him and Usman. But that was just great. The Usman fight kind of goes in with what you were just saying with rematches and fighters being a different person. Are you interested in a rematch with Usman and Colby?
Oh, 100%, man. I think many people are like, just listen, man. I'm not gonna go into politics here with you shouldn't like Colby or that or that.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Colby has also fought a good fight against Kamaru Usman. That fight was very close, and Usman won in the 5th round via TKO. I think I had Usman. I had a 2-2, I think, or I had a 3-1 Usman. I don't know, but even 3-1 for Colby was possible at that moment. That's how close the fight was, in my opinion. So people saying Usman absolutely completely trashed Colby. That's not true. He won, and he decisively won in the 5th round. He stopped him. Yeah, but I don't agree with the thing like that he absolutely clearly. That we don't have to see a rematch. I think if Colby deserves a rematch, he should get a rematch. I personally would like to see now Kamaru Usman fighting Gilbert Burns, and I would like to see Colby fighting Leon Edwards. But I would be really surprised if Colby takes that fight. And I mean, all right to him that he wants the rematch with Usman.
I mean, it's exciting times right now. There's a lot of upcoming fights I'm looking forward to. I wasn't too pumped about Woodley versus Colby, but it actually ended up being a pretty decent fight. I was very impressed with Colby's kickboxing skills, as I believe Dominic Cruz brought up. Something that we really take for, we really haven't noticed before in the past, the way he was mixing things up. I was very impressed with Colby Covington's performance last night. Would you say this is one of his better performances in the last couple of years?
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I mean, he's becoming a more complete fighter. Colby was first heavily wrestling all the time. What you see in his stand-up. Also, listen, against Robbie Lawler. I know Robbie Lawler is maybe the Robbie Lawler from 5-6 years ago, but still, the striking was on point in that fight, and he's looking good, man. Colby, you got to give that to him. So yeah, I mean, he's getting better. So yeah.
All right, let's talk about some other fights that went down on this card. I mean, there's a couple that we can actually discuss. What's one that really sticks out to you? Because obviously Johnny Walker, Hazmat, like everyone keeps saying Hazmat. How do you pronounce the guy's name correctly?
I say Gamzat.
Gamzat Chimaev.
Chimaev. K-H is like a G, so you should pronounce as a G. But I don't know if you pronounce a T, actually. So it could be Gamzat instead of Gamzat.
Man, I learned more in the MMA world about, different countries and points of view than I did in high school. It's crazy, man. But yeah, what were your thoughts on that? Because Dana White had nothing but nice things to say, saying he's never seen a fighter like this before in his entire career, which I thought was crazy for Dana to say. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, Chimaev, man, in Brave, he already looked very good when he fought in Brave, and he fought tough guys there. So when he came to the UFC, it's actually crazy to me that he went to Fight Island for a fight when he wasn't signed and hoped that he could be a short notice replacement. So he wasn't even on the UFC's radar actually to be signed, but he just went there. He got his fight. He got his shot against John Phillips. Absolutely, completely dominated him. Also dominated Chris McKee, and now against Mershad. I mean, dude. I understand Dana here, man. That this dude, what he's doing, it's crazy. And Joe Mershad, he's a veteran. He's a good fighter. I mean, to do that to him in 17 seconds, that's impressive, man. I think everybody will agree that's impressive. And, man, I can't wait for his next fight. I'm really curious who's going to fight next. Because in my mind, I really don't hope he's fighting Damian Maia. But, hey, we will see.
All right, so let me show everybody the replay of this finish. 17-second knockout, UFC Vegas 11. Here we go.
On is plus 360. This fight clock is brought to you by Modelo. Mershart out of the southpaw stance in blue. Chimaev orthodox in black.
Chimaev straight on the pressure like he always does.
Just drop Mershart, man, and it's hard to watch. I don't know about you, man, but when you watch a fighter for so many years and then you watch them get dropped like that, it's hard. Go look at the Overeem versus Francis fight, man. I had to walk out the room for that thing.
Damn, imagine Paul Felder doing the commentary for Chimaev against Mershart for his teammate. That's pretty. That pretty sucks, man.
Yeah, this is why a lot of these guys jump out the chair, like we saw a couple of weeks ago with Dan Hardy, because you're obviously gonna be hurt, man. I've been there so many times. I don't know if you've covered. I'm sure you've covered plenty of events ringside, but then you've definitely seen the families, the girlfriends that are sitting there watching their loved ones get beat up, and when somebody gets knocked out, man, it's heartbreaking. And people at home don't realize. These people are going home and resting their head on a pillow just like you and I.
Yeah, exactly, man. I can give you an example. It was with a local event in Belgium. I was cage side doing reporting for MMA DNA, and we were a guy got viciously head kicked, and he dropped down took right in front of me, and I was like, wow, okay. And behind me, his family was there, and they were crying literally. So that was like, yeah, you mean the audience was even quiet, at that moment. It was a beautiful head kick knockout, but man, it can have such an impact, and even when the UFC has it's not that hard of a underground they have a hard underground, but the local shows maybe have a wooden underground, for an octagon or cage, so that even sounds harder, so it's hard sometimes,
Especially with all the sacrifices these fighters have to make away from their family, going to training camps, missing Christmas, missing their children's birthdays, and then they go to the fight. It's got to be nerve-wracking, man. I can't even imagine what that's got to be like. Do you remember the Fedor versus Mark? Oh my God, where his two girls came into the ring, they were crying.
Mark Coleman.
There you go, the Coleman fight, Fedor Coleman fight. I mean. Even that, man, even Fedor coming up, they still didn't even understand. It's a brutal sport, man, but there are beautiful sides of it as well, like Randy Costa getting that head kick finish, who I actually watched ringside throughout his professional career, finishing dudes within a couple of seconds. Thoughts on Randy Costa doing his thing, and then Johnny Walker, man. I mean, we got some stars coming.
Yeah, but the Randy Costa one, I mean, very cool. I mean, Costa is a good dude, and great for him to see him getting that KO and the bonus. I mean, people don't understand for those prelim fighters, it can be such life-changing money, those 50K. So that's really cool. And Johnny Walker against Pan, I gotta have my own view on that, but I got a lot of shit for that last night.
Why? What did you say? You got to share it on the show. What'd you say?
So, listen, man. I said there were some illegal shots to the back of the head of Span, and people immediately thought that I was talking about the finish, but I was actually talking about the sequence 20 seconds before the finish, where I still see a few back of the head shots, and that was my initial call. I watched it back, and I still saw it. So, But the thing is, with the back of the head shots, it's like that little thing here behind your head, That's the back of the head. And the side, it's very hard to see, actually, because there are some parts of the back of the head which is not the back of the head, They don't call it that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, well done by Walker. He came back from adversity because he was tagged twice by Span. And yeah, I'm looking forward to his next fight.
I'm happy that he won because you never know how a fighter's going to come back after a loss when they have all this hype behind them, like Sugar Sean O'Malley. I don't want to jump off topics, but have you seen the way he's reacting to it? Because my personal thoughts are, you got to keep a positive mindset. I mean, he could be trolling, but you got to believe, like Mike Tyson said, or maybe it was Muhammad Ali. I had to believe I was champion before I could become a champion. So what were your thoughts on Sugar's reaction to his loss?
Yeah, personally, I don't like that. I mean, you can be a champion in your heart. You can be a champion in your mind. Listen, you have, for example, I give you an example, Darren Till. Darren Till always says, in my mind, I am the best fighter there is. I am the best. But when he loses, he is like, okay, I lost. He won. Congrats to him. He was the better man today. And that's something I think mostly younger fighters need to learn sometimes, that they have to be gracious in defeat as well. You can't be getting all the hype when you win, but you got to be gracious in defeat as well. So I'm not really a fan of that, but I understand that many people are like, yeah, this is cool, it's trolling and that kind of stuff, But yeah, that's not for me. But hey, man, we will see what happens in this next fight,
All right, moving forward a little bit. And by the way, guys, let us know what you think about last night's fights. What was your pick for fight of the night? You can message us on Twitter at Pure EVil MMA _ or at EVIL _ ECCO. And obviously, you can tweet Big Marcel at Big Marcel 24. Marcel, Paige Van Zandt going to BKFC. Well, what is your thoughts with all these fighters going over there? Usually it's fighters later in their career, but Paige Van Zandt, man, what a sign for BKFC. Thoughts on that?
I will tell you something funny. I don't watch BKFC, so the thing is, I mean, BKFC is signing mostly guys who stopped with MMA, retired, and they go back to fighting to BKFC. They also have, listen, man, Paige Van Zandt is a great signing for them. Let's be honest. I mean, she will attract a huge audience. I think she's very popular. For her, I think it's people are saying like it's a stupid move because she is more of a good ground fighter than instead of a stand-up fighter. But you got to think about who is in BKFC. Beck Rawlings, for example. She stopped Beck Rawlings via a head kick and punch.
Oh yeah, kick the can.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it's that bad of a choice for her. I mean, if she gets paid well and it's good for her, why shouldn't she do it? And props to BKFC to get her in the promotion. That's pretty huge. I mean, yeah.
I thought the same thing, man. I mean, is she really going to be making more? I'm surprised the UFC let her go, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe she wasn't what the UFC expected, just like with Sage Northcutt, But she still has a huge following, a huge fan base, and even people who don't like her watch her to see her lose. So people tune in anyways, her fans and her haters. So yeah, I'm shocked because the UFC is pretty much big on selling hypes and that kind of stuff. And yeah, pretty surprising. But maybe she didn't want to resign with the UFC herself. I expected her to go to Bellator with her man, Austin Vandervoort.
Oh, yeah. Austin's a great guy, too. Kind of on the same subject with shocking news, Michael Chandler being welcomed into the UFC. Who would you like to see Chandler fight? Because, I'm pumped. I thought this was going to happen a couple of years ago. He re-signed with Bellator, I believe, for 3-4 more fights, and now he's in the UFC. So what do you think the direction is here?
I think the most perfect fight for Michael Chandler to see where he stands in the division is fighting a guy like Paul Felder.
Ooh.
That's how I see it. I mean, Paul Felder is the guy you gotta beat to be on that top 5, in my opinion. Sorry, to beat in the top 5. Paul Felder is a very good fighter. He's solid on the ground. He's good stand-up. And Michael Chandler coming from Bellator, I think that would be a perfect fight. If he loses that fight, he has to come back to get another higher fight. But if he wins against Paul Felder, You can let him fight a guy like Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson. I mean, that would be great. And now they have him as a backup for the title fight. I mean, yeah. What do you think about that? I don't know.
Dude, I'm so excited because it's kind of like the Ben Askren thing. Like, how is this fighter going to do? And somebody brought something very interesting up on Twitter that I kind of got upset about, but I want to hear what you have to say about. They said, list one person, one fighter that came over from Bellator that did well in the UFC. And I was like, Jorge Masvidal for one. Dude, there's tons of fighters that came over from Bellator to the UFC. It's slipping my mind right now, but there's a couple of guys that did very well coming over. I think
Alexander Volkov.
Volkov. That's another one. I thought I wrote it down somewhere. But there's a couple of guys that came over. Edson Barboza, I believe, right?
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez. And you know what? They were bashing him. I mean, come on. Eddie Alvarez was able to do his thing. Did a lot of wrestling. I mean, not the most exciting fights when he came over, but was able to get the UFC championship.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how Michael Chandler does. Moving forward here, Ultimate Fighter kind of taking a hiatus here. Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series making a big splash. Are you a bigger fan of Ultimate Fighter or Dana White's Contender Series?
Honestly, I watch both, man, but I think the Contender Series are very fun on a Tuesday night all the time. So, yeah. Yeah, I probably pick the Contender Series, but I love both.
I mean, if you're a young, up-and-coming fighter, the weird thing about Contender Series is that you probably have about 5 fights, right? Usually it's about 4, 5, maybe 6 fights. And then they go into the UFC. You got to be really careful with your career. I mean, the recent one, those 2 brothers that got signed, that was moments like that is why I like the Contender Series. What has been your favorite moment from the Contender Series so far?
Oh man,
or favorite fighter that got signed?
So that's difficult, man. I really love Impa Kasanganay, man. I loved him since last year, and I was happy he got the contract. It wasn't the best performance I think he had that night, but I was happy he got the contract. But there's so many, man. I mean, I really love the Dana White Contender Series. I think it's a perfect to see guys getting pretty much their first shot in the UFC. It's not really the UFC, but it kind of got the feeling in the Apex, And but man, I mean, Aliaskhab Kizriev, who was 14-0 and got on the Contender Series. I mean, and he pretty much choked his opponent in 1 minute. That was to me like, do you really have to put him through Contender Series? But some fun fighters. I mean, Phil Haas got his next fight lined up as well now. Really looking forward to that one. Corey Mckenna, a girl from, I think she's from Wales, I think. If I'm correct, of Irish. I don't know exactly. But actually, I saw her live at the Cage Warriors event in Belgium. So it's cool to see her getting in the UFC.
That's another thing I love about it. I've seen, usually every week, there's a fighter I've seen watch live cage side or has been on the show. So I do miss the Ultimate Fighter, though. I thought it would be a great idea to do Ultimate Fighter Navy versus Army or something. I switch it up a little bit. Get people behind something like that would be, it got old after a while, but man, there were so many great moments, great fighters that came out of there that are still doing the damn thing. Diego Sanchez still doing the damn thing.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? He's actually the very first Ultimate Fighter. He was the co-main. He was announced. He was at the co-main before Bonner against Griffin, right?
Yep.
Against Kenny Florian. So yeah, he's actually the very first one. It's crazy that he's still fighting. Actually, yeah. And actually, was the last Ultimate Fighter Juan Espino? I think he has a fight coming up next week. So.
The heavyweight series, right?
Yeah,
that was the last one.
Yeah. And he's like 41 now or something. I think he's older than Sanchez. This is crazy.
So we got 2 more things to discuss before we let you go here. We got some exciting upcoming fights here, man. Izzy versus Costa. Everyone's going crazy about this. I mean, I remember Paulo Costa on The Ultimate Fighter as the pretty boy with the blonde hair, always worried about his appearance. Didn't really do that well on The Ultimate Fighter. I believe he left the UFC and then came back. And man, what a specimen this guy is. But a lot of people are underestimating Izzy like they have his entire career. Within 2 years, this guy went on a 6-fight win streak, became the champion. Thoughts on this fight? Early predictions, if that's okay to ask.
Yeah, no problem. I underestimated Izzy as well until his fight against Gastelum, where I saw that he had a very good ground game as well. You know, so I knew with Whittaker he would get, he could do it, you know. But dude, I'm a huge Robert Whittaker fan.
Hell yeah.
So I'm almost never pick against Robert Whittaker. I'm biased if it comes to Robert Whittaker in my picks. So you know, he beat Whittaker fair and square. Good win for him. And the Romero fight, I don't want to take too much from that away. That was not a great fight, but I mean, both guys didn't really do much in that fight. So you got to have two guys fighting well to have a good fight, I think. Paulo Costa will bring it to Adesanya. 100% he will come forward, he will throw bombs. Looking forward to that. If you ask me for my pick in that fight, I think Costa has the more raw power, but Adesanya is much more technical in my opinion. And I think Adesanya will try to keep him at distance and will probably... I think he finishes him in the third or fourth round. I think Adesanya wins the fight.
These are the fights that get me out of bed in the morning. That your mind just goes crazy. What's going to happen? And this is a perfect fight that I really hope a lot of people tune in for, because if you're not a diehard MMA fan, you probably have no idea who these two guys are. And it's weird because you would think with ESPN now, UFC would be a lot bigger. What do you think? Do you think the UFC has grown since signing with ESPN? Obviously, it has grown, but is it what you expected it to be, or lackluster?
It's kind of a hard question for me since I'm not from the US and we don't have ESPN here, so I can't really answer you to that question. I know over here it's getting bigger, the MMA scene, but I can't really talk for the US. You know, that's I don't know. What do you think yourself, for example?
Well, it's weird, man. I thought it would do more, but I'm happy with the fights ending a little bit earlier. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I understand.
Not staying up till. I mean, what time do you have to stay up till back in the day?
Listen, man. I mean,
like 6 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, for the pay-per-view with upcoming, that's like it's at 10 p.m. ET when it starts, right?
Yeah.
So that's for me. That's 4 a.m.
Wow.
And that means I'm like 7:30, 8 a.m. I'm in bed. So.
And do you watch every single event? Are you that diehard from prelims on, or?
Yeah, I've only missed like 2 events in the last 4 years.
Wow,
I think, so,
man. Yeah. That's commitment right there. That is crazy. I got one more thing to discuss with you, and it's kind of a fun thing, but I want to ask you one more thing about yourself, man. What's the biggest fight you've broken over the years? Because you're always announcing fights. Before you answer that, how did that come about, you doing that? Did you reach out to management? Did somebody notice you? How did that happen for you? Because you're a big role inside MMA Twitter.
Sometimes talking to managers, sometimes talking to fighters, trying to get confirmation from both sides. You know, that's pretty much what you're trying. And it's like baby steps, you know. In the beginning, they are like, "Who is that dude? I don't know that dude." You know,
Yeah.
And why should I tell them shit? You know. But now they are like, they can. Some managers know me, probably some managers also don't. But they know who those managers who know who I am, and they know I'm trustworthy. You know, so. Yeah, that's pretty much how it become, and it's really baby steps. So listen, man, I'm not from the U.S. I'm from the Netherlands. It's maybe even sometimes harder, you know, because I can't give them the how do you say that? I can give them the stage some of their fighters, you know, because if you have a really big fight, you probably prefer to announce it via MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, or ESPN. You know, they have the bigger audience to watch. And not a random guy from the Netherlands who puts it on MMA DNA now. But some guys don't matter to them, so that's cool. The biggest fight I broke, probably, I broke that Adesanya against Whittaker was in the works.
Wow.
Last year, and I broke that for the good date, but I broke it for Sydney, and it wasn't in Sydney, it was in Melbourne, but the targeted location was Sydney. But they did Melbourne because Sydney had some huge event with, I don't know, a certain Australian sport. I don't know which one it was anymore. So they did Melbourne, but the fight was correct. It was in the works, and the date was correct. So yeah.
That's wild, man. That's huge. That really is huge. You brought up it takes a while. That's something that I've learned over the years. You really got to dedicate yourself, and you might not see any results for 2-3 years.
True.
It's hard work, and it's an unthankful job, man. So I really appreciate everything that you do. Last thing, we usually like to ask people that come on the show if they have any ghost stories or any kind of weird things that has happened to you or somebody that you know. Do you have any ghost stories for us?
Not really, man. I can tell you something that creeped me out. Like 2 years ago, I heard a huge bang in front of my house. So I turned down the lights, and I was like opening the window and how do you say that? Getting the stuff up so I can look outside. And then I saw shit. It's like, what the hell happened here? And then out of nowhere, I saw a guy across the street looking at me, staring me. And I was like, what the hell is it? It was like 3 a.m. at night. So he was staring at me like this. And I was like, let's do that light out as well. And he kept staring because my light in my bedroom was still on. So then I went to my bedroom. I put that light out as well. And then he walked away.
That is actually really creepy. 3 a.m. You're just looking out the window and there's a guy standing there. If you were 6 years old, that would be traumatizing. Is it rough out there where you live? Is it pretty bad?
It's okay, man. But I live on the border. I live on the border with Belgium, and there is a lot of problems with just with drugs. The Netherlands. It's pretty legal to buy cannabis, marijuana, but also like I know people here selling cocaine and that kind of stuff as well on the street, and at night it's not really, I don't say I live in the ghetto or anything, but it's not really safe, it's on the border, so you have many people from Belgium coming to the Netherlands, getting some stuff and going back.
Oh, wow.
But that happens, and but it's okay. I live on a big way over here, like a big road, but that's not a lot of traffic anymore because they pretty much closed the roads for many traffic. They have another road right now, so it's not that busy anymore at night. But it's I would say if you walk here, try to walk in the middle or something. Don't try to walk near a house that somebody sees you or something, because I wouldn't really feel safe outside at night.
What was that guy doing though? Like, what do you think that guy was doing out there? Like,
I honestly think that he was. Listen, I heard a big bang.
Yeah, what could have that?
So, yeah, I thought somebody hit a car or was kicking a car. We had here like a few years ago that all cars had a dent. How do you say that?
Oh,
because
yeah.
Somebody kicked the car.
Vandalizing it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those things happen as well, So I don't know, but
at least they didn't light the cars on fire like the Showtime brothers, like the Pettis brothers. Remember that?
What was that?
Sergio and Showtime Pettis. Remember they burnt down their cars or something like that a couple years ago?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a couple years ago, some kids vandalized their car. I mean, dude, I would be so pissed if I were the Pettis brothers. Really quick, Marcel. I know I said that was the last question, but I just remembered rumors of Nick Diaz coming back. True or false? Because we keep hearing this.
He looked good. What I see in his videos. I mean, how he's built. He's looking good. He looked like he's training. I don't know, man. Honestly, man, I don't know what fight he wants. I think he wants actually the Masvidal fight.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So I don't know what's gonna happen. If he's fit, if he wants to do it, go for it. Why not? But I don't know. It's such a hard thing to say, man. The Diaz brothers do what they want. So
yeah, I mean, I'm really good friends with Nick's best friend, Slap for Cash. And, man, after that Masvidal fight, Nick was heated. And that's something I would want for Nick to return, is to actually have an anger and aggression to be motivated. And I think that's something that he needs. So we'll see what happens. Marcel, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Pure EVil MMA. I love your work, man. So keep it up. What we like to do is hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any shout outs, social media plugs, anything at all, the floor is now all yours.
First of all, thanks for having me, man. It's really cool to be on your show, to doing this podcast with you. You guys can find me on Big Marcel 24, Twitter and Instagram. My work on MMADNA.nl and MMADNA on all social media accounts as well. And also, if you like it, check the breakdown, what I do with David Van Baker and AJ Shulo on the Loudmouth MMA podcast. And again, man, thank you so much and wish you all the best. Thanks for having me.
Marcel, I'll talk to you soon. God bless.
Thanks, man. God bless you.
There you guys go. Marcel Dorff, man. And he's been doing the damn thing for so long. That's not like when people message me asking for advice, I mean, I should probably take some of my own advice, practice what I preach, because I've been falling off lately. And let me discuss that really quick, guys. Things come up in life, distractions, and that's something I like to talk to a lot of fighters about. Is how do you stay focused? How are you stepping in a cage against somebody that's about to whoop your ass, that's been training day in and day out, and you got issues at home, or you're dealing with this or that? I find that so inspirational, how strong fighters are fighting outside of the cage. It's very inspirational. And, man, doing this has saved my life. If you guys know the story, if you've been tuning into Pure EVil MMA, going on, 5-6 years now, you kind of know the story here. But 2020 has been a really weird year. Mental health is deteriorating everywhere, I feel, which is why I love tuning in on fight nights. But man, I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed that Marcel said that he's only missed 2 events in 40 years. I wish I could say the same thing, man. There's nights where I'll be watching fights and something will happen, this or that. Life comes up, and it's just been a really rough year for me. I'm trying to get the ball rolling again, stepping back into it. I'm really happy that we had Marcel on. But anyone that's out there struggling, reach out on Twitter, man. Reach out to me on Twitter. We have such a great community on there. People that are going through the same things that we are, but we wouldn't even know it. People that we tweet every day. Probably have a lot more in common with you than you think. I mean, I've had a lot of people over the years that I've met on social media say some things to me that I really needed to hear. It's like a family. The MMA scene is seriously a family. Trolls and all. And I just want you guys to know, just made an agreement that every Tuesday, 1 p.m., I will be doing a show. Here, let me pull it up really quick. Mike Jin messaged me. So the show is going to be called Art of MMA Podcast. You can follow Mike Jin. Let me get his profile at _ AKA Mike. And I will actually tweet out his, I'll retweet one of his tweets right now. Guys, every week, Tuesday, 1 p.m. I'm also going to be doing Thursdays, 7 p.m. Sundays, 7 p.m. So Monday 1, Thursday 7, Sunday 7. That's 3 days of Evil Eddie, 2 days of Pure EVil MMA. We're going to be doing the Roundtable on Mondays, or is it Tuesdays? Am I screwing this up already? Am I seriously screwing this up already? I'll tweet it out to you guys in a second here. You know what? While I have you guys here, let me just figure this out, because it's pretty important to get that out there for everybody. 1 hour episodes broken in 4 15-minute segments. Every Tuesday at 1 p.m. via Zoom. So there you guys go. The Art of MMA Podcast. And it's going to be Bradley Desir, Brandon Coutinho, Sergio Da Silva, Eddie Vallejo, which is me, Eric Johnson. And Sergio Da Silva, man, I know Sergio Da Silva, like, really well. He's a fighter for CES. Sergio Da Silva has one of the most inspirational stories I've heard in a very long time. Very close friend with Pure EVil MMA, representing the East Coast here. So I'm really looking forward to this. and Mike Jin finally settled into Tampa. So we're about to get the ball rolling. We got a lot of exciting things coming up for you guys. A lot of exciting fights that are about to unravel. Izzy versus Paulo Costa. What are your predictions? Let us know at Pure EVil MMA _. Also at Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure EVil MMA. Remember, without evil, there's no purity. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves.